Captain America Civil War is out, and with that comes a review. So today I am going to talk about my thoughts about the movie and how I felt overall as we're going into more of the MCU at a larger glance. I will start by saying that I liked the movie. I didn't love it. I know a lot of people are saying this is the best superhero movie ever. I think it's very solid, though by any means it's not perfect. So I do have some compliments and I do have some problems. So please don't take that to mean that I absolutely love it or absolutely hate it. It's impossible to not compare this movie to Batman v Superman. And I will say that of the two of them, this one executed the infighting a little bit better, or having two people who essentially want something that is for the common good going against each other on the basis of ideology. I think it did handle that part at least a lot better, a lot smoother, and with a lot more tact. I thought, well, I mean, when you look at the core of Captain America Civil War, there's two plots going on. There's one regarding the Sokovia Accords, so wanting to sign this agreement with the UN that they would have oversight over the Avengers or whatever superheroes outside of the Avengers, including Ant-Man, Spider-Man, etc. And then there's a more personal one between, it's basically, I don't like your friend, well, I like my friend, well, we can't be friends, which is kind of silly when you come down to it. But think about all the fights you've had with your friends. Sometimes they can come out really silly. It wasn't as high stakes as this great 99% whatever lampoon that we saw in Batman v Superman that I don't think was executed well. I thought The Dark Knight Returns did it better, though I don't think that was perfect either. The stars of this movie were actually the new guest characters, so Black Panther, Spider-Man, they shined the brightest out of all of the group, I think. I am firmly on Team Black Panther now because his plot did tie in very well with the storyline, and it did make sense for him to be there and to be invested, and he did make some very rational decisions. Spider-Man is obviously a highlight of this movie as well. He is very young. He does nonstop talking, which I think is in tune with who Spider-Man is, though it did seem, I thought scenes that could have been more high stakes did come off more as kids swinging around a playground, but you may actually prefer that. It depends on where you're at, and it does fit with the mood of this movie, which is overall it's fairly joyful for something that is as devastating as a superhero group breaking up and infighting and causing damage to each other. I do want to point out that I started this movie as Team Cap, and I ended this movie as Team Cap, and I never really saw Iron Man's side. And I think it's because it wasn't as well explained as it was in the comics. So in the comics, Iron Man is standing on the side because of, oh, by the way, they have almost nothing in common besides Tony on one side, Steve on the other side. Tony feels guilty because of a dead boy's mother. And that's it. It greatly diverges from that point on and has almost nothing to do the same. In the comics, Tony's side makes a lot of sense because we see this devastation that's caused by untrained rookie superheroes for something stupid, and people die for basically no reason. Or the reason is a reality show, so essentially no reason. And in the movie, it's presented more as, well, we have to do something. We need some oversight. But then we clearly see General Ross is not maybe someone who should be trusted. I know it is the UN, but he seems to be under General Ross's thumb. I think there is a solution, but that isn't it. I know Captain America offered no solution, but he did disagree with the bad solution. This is probably a political thing from my personal point of view as well, because that is probably where I would lie in real life. I also thought it was odd how low the death count was. Apparently only 72 people died in the Battle of New York. That seems low considering how much devastation there was. And to me, I mean, if you look at the Battle of New York and you look at Sokovia, the casualties could have been far, far worse than they were. So in my head, I thought, oh, they did the right thing. It sucked. It was bad. People suffered. But it could have been far, far, far worse than it actually was. So this was the best of two bad choices, essentially. If you're not sold on the Captain America-Bucky relationship, or Stucky, as some online communities like to call it, wink, you might not be down for the central conflict of this movie, which is Bucky has been framed. for committing a bombing at the UN, which kills King T'Chaka, who's Black Panther's father, obviously, and that leads him on his journey. And he's been framed. He didn't do it. But Bucky has definitely done some terrible things, whether he was brainwashed or not. I think he was brainwashed for the most part, and I think we can agree, or at least I agree with Black Panther, that he is actually a victim in this. But Captain America wants to keep him safe no matter what, and they reminisce a little bit. If you didn't believe in that friendship from the beginning, you're not going to believe in it now, because it does rely on that concept that these two are best friends, basically brothers tied together forever, and that they love each other very much. So we see some footage that is revealed by the villain, who, by the way, is not a supervillain, but a normal man who has enabled himself to seek revenge on the Avengers for what happened in Sokovia, which ended up killing his wife, his son, and his father. So he's developed this great plan to turn them on each other, and he actually, he's telling them, oh, I'm going to make you fight each other. I'm going to topple an empire from the inside, because that's the way I make it stay down. And I kind of liked that. I dug that the very person, or the very concept they were fighting for, the people, is what turned against them. Though you may miss the supervillains themselves. There is no Loki, there is no Ultron. There's no level of superpowered villain. It's people who disagree with each other. Essentially, it is the villain all the way through, or the antagonist at least. And Tony does fill in the antagonist role quite a lot. He sees that Bucky is responsible for the murders of his parents, which was shown, that relationship was lampshaded earlier on in a scene featuring a young Robert Downey Jr., which caught me very off guard. I don't know if Iron Man's reaction was the proper one, because, again, to me, Bucky was forced to do this. He would never have chosen to do this on his own, and he did it. He did do it. So I could definitely see the rage, or the emotion, the passion behind seeing what or who directly led to your parents' death. But I think that Tony Stark is a more rational, logical person than that. I think he would eventually, realize, oh, this doesn't make sense. This is not the real man that I should be angry at, or the real man I should be trying to kill right here. But he never came to that accord. By the end, Captain America drops his shield at Iron Man's feet. Does that mean that he's dropped the mantle, that he's no longer Captain America? That part was kind of heartbreaking and sad to me. There was a B plot, or maybe a C plot, with Vision and Scarlet Witch. I know they're married in the comics and that they have this special relationship, but it did seem a little oddly placed, much like the Black Widow-Hulk relationship as seen in Avengers Age of Ultron. It didn't necessarily need to be there. And on the note of didn't necessarily need to be there, what is Hawkeye doing here? We live in a world where we have Scarlet Witch, whose power is literally she can change reality, or she can do literally anything. And we have Vision, who has the Soul Gem, which is also super powered. Maybe I'm just ready, really ready for Phase 3, the magic era, and kind of over. I mean, Jeremy Renner is charming, but I don't know how far that can carry him. And I don't see how useful he was in this movie, because Black Widow could have easily carried the weight. She did kind of take Spider-Man's role from the comics, which is that she was the person that sort of switched sides, but not in a duplicitous sort of way, in a way that she saw both sides, which many people in the audience did. Not me. But it made more sense for her to carry that role than Spider-Man, since he is more new to the MCU and she has experience. She did come into this as an outsider, as a spy, as probably someone you shouldn't trust, but she became part of this family eventually, and then for her to be front and center watching it fall apart, having her heart break, it does serve a better emotional purpose than you would for a kid who's brand new. I did have a little bit of a problem with Tony's central guilt-ridden part of this, which was he got someone's promising young son killed on accident in Sokovia. He takes responsibility from a mother, very much like in the comics. However, he threw another 16-year-old right back into the fight. He could have easily been crushed by Giant Man. He doesn't know how strong he is yet. He's only seen, I guess, surveillance videos of him, and he's still very untested. As he says, he had just started to get his powers recently, I think within less than 6 months even. So he's new to this. I did appreciate Tom Holland. I didn't think I would like him, but he did a great job. He was very cute and endearing. I did love the joke about him maybe being a little too young and new at this. I'm not going to spoil that part for you because I think you will like it too. I think Peter Parker would definitely be a fan of Star Wars and would not refer to it as, hey, have you seen this old movie? Come on. Peter Parker's a nerd. He knows about this, and he knows that it's a big cultural touchstone. And, you know, it's kind of under the same umbrella company, but okay, sure. I'll hang on to that at least. So this was an impressive movie overall. I don't think it's my favorite, but it did achieve what it wanted to achieve well in the world of larger cinematic universes. And oftentimes we see movies, particularly the Thor movies, that do feel like steps to something larger in the greater scheme. And this movie is one of them, but it is probably the best one that is in that sequence. Audience, did you see Captain America: Civil War yet? And did you ever feel maybe one side was right over the other? Were you, like me, solidly on Team Cap or Team Iron Man, or did you see both sides? And what did you think of this? Did you have problems? Did you love it? Was it a triumph? Was it maybe not the best? Let me know what you think below in the discussion in the comments, and please like and subscribe for more.